Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Later in the show, we'll learn about the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation with Mandy Yeahpau. And we'll chat with Lenaya, owner of Beading Soul Creation. But right now, host Lenaya talks with Dr. Kimberly Robe and Darrel Christenson about the 19th Annual Arizona American Indian Disability Summit and the 3rd Annual Tribal Youth Disability Summit.
I'm host Lenaya. Dr. Kimberly Robe is the Associate Director, Tribal Coordinator at Banner University Health Plans, and Darrel Christenson is the Vice President of Community Integration at Ability 360, and they are here to discuss the 19th Annual Arizona American Indian Disability Summit and the 3rd Annual Tribal Youth Disability Summit. Hello, Dr. Robe and Darrel. It's an honor to have you both on our show today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Good morning.
And before we get started, can you both tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yes, Darrel here. I have been working with Ability 360 for nearly 25 years now, and we are a nonprofit working with people with all types of disabilities to empower folks to be independent and self-sufficient in the community.
And I work with University Health Plans. I am the Associate Director, Tribal Coordination. I'm an enrolled member of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe from South Dakota. And Pito Henhipi Washte. Good morning. Today is a good day.
Thank you both. It's a pleasure to have you both here with us today. Can you both tell us a little bit about what is the American Indian Disability Summit?
So the American Indian Disability Summit, really exciting. We're on our 19th annual summit this year, and the summit was actually hosted by Native Health 20 years ago. And it was hosted in a format of a talking circle. So there were 12 different organizations, individuals that were part of the original talking circle. And when we got done with our 2-day event, we asked, what are we going to do with all this good information, in regards to speaking about disabilities and American Indians and Indian country. And our team decided to host the 1st annual summit, and it was hosted down at Burton Bar Library. Over 100 folks, about 125 community members from urban and rural areas attended the event, and it's been so phenomenal. We're on our 19th and looking forward to our 20th annual summit next year.
Oh, wow, that is awesome.
And I want to say that one of the members from Ability 360, Fernando Cruz, who was a double amputee, and boy, I tell you, when he said, Fernando Cruz, that's my name, that's what I do. He was rolling around with his power chair so much, and he also was very, very inspirational and integral in getting the summit going and keeping it going, and our involvement as well. So a few years ago we lost Fernando, but boy, I tell you, he's with us always.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that story. And can you let us know, what is the purpose behind the summit?
The summit, we gather information, resources. We invite community programs, tribal health care facilities, folks representing different tribes from across Arizona and Indian country come and present. And last year we focused a lot on resiliency because of the COVID. So we needed to put some self-care tools out there for our community members to get that balance and that harmony back, because the COVID, put us all into lockdown, isolation, quarantine. So we created some tools in the form of our speakers and panels that we had to provide these resources for our people.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the things, too, that's so important when we have the summit is to have people to come together regardless of where they live, and not only the resources and information, but it's just amazing to see in the room how people are interacting with one another, people with disabilities and their family members, and sharing stories about how they're doing with life and some of the struggles and some of the solutions and some of the things that they learn from each other. That's, I think the information, the presenters are fantastic. We've been very fortunate in getting so many quality folks to present information. But at the end of the day, I think people come away with that and a whole lot more with that interaction with others with disabilities and their families.
Oh, wow.
I'd be amiss if I didn't mention this. We have a Marcus Harrison Leadership Award, and he was the CEO at the time we held our Disability Talking Circle, and we named our Leadership Award after Marcus. So folks out there listening, you have individuals you want to nominate for this Leadership Award, please go to the Ability 360 website to get information to make that nomination. We also have, for the Youth Disability Summit, we have the Jim E. Warren Leadership Award. And this award is for individuals up to 24 years old. So if you have tribal youth students with disabilities that are out there making changes, go to the website and consider nominating them for this award.
And I know, Kimberly, you had mentioned during your first annual for this summit, you had about over 100 participants. How has it evolved since?
Well, strange things happen through COVID, and, we live virtually these days. So we're able to have a hybrid summit.
Oh, wow.
So in person and virtual. So we attracted over, I think, 100 and...
I think we have close to 150, almost 200 people in person normally at the Desert Willow Conference Center. And 2 years ago, when we were strictly virtual, it was amazing because we had over 350 participants nationwide. And so to be able to use technology and have a much larger reach on the information, we had participants from 36 different states.
Oh, wow.
And,
that's
and
amazing.
so, yeah, so, I tell people that, 3 years ago, if you said the word Zoom, you were probably thinking a Marvel comic. But now Zoom has a very different meaning. And so to be able to have that net of folks participating is amazing. And so this year, as Kimberly said, we'll be doing it a hybrid. So we'll have a great mix between the two, in-person and virtual as well. So that's, to us, it's not a bad thing or a negative, but we're using technology to really expand the net, and that to us as organizers is really exciting.
And I wanted to mention about the third annual Youth Disability Summit, Tribal Youth Disability Summit. It's virtual only, but the beauty of it is that we also reach across several different states, 37 states, including Alaska Native villages. And we are able to host folks that are at a distance to get this information that they need, because there's tools there's resources, there's information that folks can benefit from. In January 1st, we released our Save the Date, and our Save the Date had 1,700 hits. Oh, wow. So we're really excited with the forum that we put together this year, and really exciting to mention that our keynote speaker for the 19th Annual Disability Summit is Mr. Husky Benali. And Mr. Husky Benali is Navajo, and he was just recently appointed to the National Council on Disabilities for President Biden's White House. So really excited to have Mr. Benali come in and share Navajo creation stories, balance, harmony, and just sharing information that all of our listeners can benefit from in creating that resiliency that we all need to take care of and manage. Mr. Benali will also be the keynote speaker for the third annual Tribal Youth Disability Summit. So we're very honored to have him, and if you can, chime in or come in and sit with us down at the Desert Willow Conference Center.
And you mentioned about the third annual Tribal Youth Disability Summit. Can you tell us more about this?
We had our conference down at the Desert Willow, and there was some young youth, some young people that had attended, and we didn't have too many topics for them to select from. So instead of having them sit in the waiting room or in the conference area, I asked Darrel and our team if we could put together a youth summit. So this will be our third annual youth summit, and we have some great community partners. We have University of Arizona Youth SED program, coordinating our marketing efforts. We also have Dr. Darrel Joseph from NAU who will be presenting. Again, Mr. Hosky Benali. We will have a youth panel that's going to speak about self-care and resiliency. And also we have Jimmy Warren. Mm-hmm. He will coming in to present too, and he's going to be speaking about stereotyping in the media. So really exciting venue that we have for this year's event.
Oh wow, that sounds like a great event. And talking about both of these summits, who is eligible to attend and what qualifies as a disability?
So this year, I just want to make sure that listeners are clear in what we're talking about. The 19th annual summit, which is held with a hybrid, that is on Friday, March 24th from 8 to 4. And the theme this year is gathering Native voices to learn from the past and prepare for the future. And so that's going to have many speakers that Kimberly was talking about, and that'll be the hybrid. And then secondly, we're talking about the third annual youth summit, and that's going to be the following day on Saturday, March 25th, and that is virtual, as Kimberly said. So I just want to make sure that the listeners are clear that we're talking about two separate events, back-to-back days, March 24th and March 25th. And you asked the question about what constitutes a disability. Our definition really is that anybody with a permanent disability, whether it be a physical one, a cognitive, or sensory, such as hearing or vision, something that substantially limits a major life activity. But we're not really getting hung up on definitions on disability. And I know that disability means many things to many people, and really trying to break down the misunderstanding that a disability is necessarily a bad thing. That, like for myself, I was born without my right arm. I'm totally blind in my right eye from birth. And it's not a bad thing. It's who I am. It's part of the life experience. I think it's interesting for listeners to know that roughly 20% of the population has a permanent disability, as we're talking about. And so the 20% valley-wide represents about close to 1 million people here that are living, those of us that are living with a disability. And those numbers keep rising as we get older. And so the propensity of a disability within the senior population and older adults goes up. And so that's just part of the human experience, And so it's not a matter of life ending because we have a disability, but now how do we adjust to it? Mm-hmm. And it's now adjusting for ourselves and knowing that we have rights, we have equal rights, and can expect the same for our community as we do with our able-bodied neighbors and family members. So we're really working to enlighten and make aware of the disability issues, and saying, hey, we're just, I might do things differently because of my disability, but I can still get things done.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Darrel. And finally, for both of you, how can our listeners learn more about both the summits, and how can they contact, or who can they contact to get more information?
The website, ability360.org, is available to be viewed, and the registration is now open for both summits, both days. So they can go online there, and that should have everything that a person needs for any questions they have on it. And we really look forward to participation from all listeners. It's, I always say that if I can go to a presentation and get just one nugget of information, then my time was well spent. And believe me, if people attending each day, one day or the other, or both, you're going to get many, many more than one nugget.
I also want to mention that aside from the conference agenda that we have speakers and panel members, If you decide to come down and join us at the Desert Willow, you'll see the exhibitors that we have presenting information so our community can get that information that they need while they're there. And we'll also have a couple of tribal vendors selling jewelry too. So come on down.
Bring your money.
So to remind our listeners, the 19th Annual Arizona American Indian Disability Summit will be held on Friday, March 24th, and the 3rd Annual Tribal Youth Disability Summit will be the following day on Saturday, March 25th. But I would like to thank you both, Darrel and Kimberly, for coming on air with us today to share all of this great information.
Columbia.
Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Coming up, we'll learn about the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa, at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Human by Twin Flames.
I have a language that was born with time, passed on through generations, one of a kind. Keep it close to me, close to my heart, share for all to hear. I will do my part. I am proud.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lenaya. The Native Arts and Cultures Foundation is an philanthropic organization dedicated exclusively to the perpetuation of American Indian, Alaskan Native, and Native Hawaiian artists and cultures nationwide. On the phone with me is Mandy Yeahpau, Associate Director of Marketing and Communications. Hi, Mandy. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Yo, thanks for having me.
And before we get started, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and your Indigenous heritage?
Again, I'm Mandy Yeahpau. I'm the Associate Director of Communications and Marketing for the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. I actually just came to the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation last fall. Last fall, I really wanted to concentrate on my work with Native artists, and so I made the move to Native Arts and Cultures Foundation so I could really dedicate my time to uplifting Native artists and culture bearers. I've lived in Oregon my whole life, even though my people are from the Great Plains. I'm Comanche and a Cherokee descendant, and I also have Tarahumara ancestry from my father's side. That's an indigenous tribe of northern Mexico.
It's a pleasure to have you today, Mandy. Thank you for sharing that. Can you tell us more about the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation?
Yeah, I would love to. So this is a Native-led 501(c) nonprofit. We really are a re-granting foundation where we're granting monetary awards to Native artists so that they can continue to do the work that's really so important for preserving our culture and heritage in many ways, and also for just the continuing, Native excellence in creating art and craft. The Native Arts and Cultures Foundation is really focused on advancing the equity and cultural knowledge of Native people and focusing on the power of arts and the collaboration to strengthen Native communities. We promote positive social change within American Indian, Native Hawaiian, and Alaska Native peoples in the United States.
And how long has the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation been in existence?
So it was formed in 2007. That's when it was incorporated as a nonprofit organization. And then in 2009, their national headquarters opened in Vancouver, Washington, and they hired our current president and CEO, Lulani Arquette, who's Native Hawaiian.
And can you expand on the programs you offer, the Shift and Lift programs?
Shift and Lift are two transformational artist programs that we have offering this year. So there's two programs. One is for more established artists who have a body of work and have been putting out art and doing a lot of work in the last few years. That's the Shift Transformational Change Indigenous Arts Program. And it's really focused on community-driven projects, responding to social change of issues through a Native lens. And then the other program is called Lift, and that's an early support for Native artist program. So that program is more for artists who are just getting started or have just been making art for a short period of time and really need that grant and award money to develop and realize some of their new projects, get some works under their belt, get some things accomplished. So it's support for these new artists in a critical time in their development. Of course, fresh voices and envisioning the future of our respective Native practices. So artists who are shaping their practice and who may serve as a launching point to their career, those are the ones that are encouraged to apply for a Lift.
And how do artists get involved, and can you let us know what is the eligibility?
So there is a list of eligibility requirements. The one being that, you do have to be a Native because the focus is that. So that's the one biggie. But other than that, if you visit our website, which is nativeartsandcultures.org, all that information to the Shift and Lift programs are linked on our main page there, so you can't miss it. And we have a really long explanation of the eligibility and criteria. So if you're interested, I encourage folks to go take a look at that.
And how has the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation evolved to meet the needs of the community?
So we've had different programs throughout the years, but in 2020, we've redesigned our programs to fit these Lift and to create the Shift and Lift programs. And these are really to respond to just the new landscape that we're in, of course, considering the pandemic and the limitations and effects that has had on our communities. And of course, everything going on with the social change in the landscape that we're dealing with these days. And so our focus is really aimed to support artists who are doing work in those areas. And so that's kind of how we've had to, refocus things lately to make sure that we're really being more impactful while also, preserving our voice and our cultures.
Can you tell us about the transfer of the Yale Union Historic Building to the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation?
Yes, so this is so exciting, and actually one of the things that really drew me to Native Arts and Cultures Foundation, because the organization's in a really sort of transformational time right now too, whereas we were all working virtually. We did have a headquarters in Vancouver, Washington, just because a lot of our staff lived in the area, but we didn't have a physical location really anywhere until just a couple years ago. So in 2018, there's another art nonprofit in Portland. They were not Native specific. They're called Yale Union. And they were looking to dissolve their nonprofit and close out their time there. Their CEO is going to retire, but they wanted to basically pass on this huge brick historic building in Portland to a Native organization. And so they approached us And we began discussions with their executive director, Yeahpau, and we did a whole feasibility study to make sure that this was the right fit for us and that we would be able to responsibly steward this building. And in 2019, our board of directors approved to move forward with taking ownership of the property. So, and it's kind of a land back, but more of a stewardship back type of vibe, where they actually handed over this big, beautiful building to us so that we could have it as a hub to plug into the community, to have a maker space, to have a theater, to have printmaking facilities, to have a dark room for developing photography, and a space where we can have events and exhibitions of Native artists. But also we really want to have the space as a utility to serve the local Portland Native community so that they can come in and we can really encourage young artists to do work there too. So it's pretty exciting. Right now the building is mostly empty, and we're working on a capital funding campaign to raise funds to remodel it, with the goal of having it all completed and ready for and open to the public in 2025.
Oh, wow. That sounds so exciting, and it sounds like it will be a great space for everyone. Mandy, can you give us a brief description of the building?
Yes. Let's see. I wonder, do I have the specs of the size of it? Because it's a huge building. It used to be a laundry facility, and it has a giant ballroom upstairs, lots of meeting rooms. But our plans for it are, of course, like I say, are to develop it into a more public and Native space. So we're going to have a rooftop garden with local Native plants. There's also an ancient creek bed that is running through the bottom of the building, and if you go down to the basement, it's kind of scary right now, but there actually is the ancient creek is still running through there, and we want to develop that into like a sacred water space where we can have a little reflecting room where folks can come and meditate and just kind of connect with the water. So it's, like I say, it's a really big space between it's in Southeast Portland, between Morrison and Belmont, and like I say, when we're through with it, I think it's going to be a really great sort of locale for everyone to connect and come together.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Mandy, do you have any favorite success stories?
It's tough because, like I say, I've been at the organization for a short time, and it's been doing really great work for, since 2010, really. But I would say since I've been here, I've been really amazed by the work of Raven Chacon. Y'all in Arizona might be familiar with him. He's Navajo and was born in Chinle, and he was one of our artist fellows in 2014. He's a Native sound artist and composer and teacher. And then in 2021, he actually received a Shift Award from us, part of the Shift program, with Michael Begay, and they were doing work to mentor and support, promote, and amplify young creative voices on the Navajo and Hopi nations. But just this last year, you probably know, Raven became the first Native American composer to win the Pulitzer Prize for music for his work at the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist in Milwaukee. And so it's just really amazing to see these artists that we've had relationships with for a long time and have had the, ability to help support and uplift their work, and just to see what can become of it when they receive that support from a foundation like ours.
And can you tell us quickly about the literary anthology and where our listeners can get a free copy?
Yes. So we have literary fellows as well. These are writers and poets. And, they don't always get their shine as much as maybe some of the visual artists do. The visual art is a little easier to connect with sometimes because you're able to see it. But we really wanted to highlight the incredible talents of some of our literary fellows. And so last year we put together this literary anthology which is pieces and excerpts from all different Native literary fellows that we've had. And it was edited by Rena Priest, who is the current poet laureate for Washington State, with a foreword by Joy Harjo. Joy Harjo is actually the chair of our board. And it's a really beautiful publication. It's we're not able to sell it because, first of all, we didn't make it for a profit, but also because, these works appear in different places. And so this is just a compilation of amazing literary works that you can request for free on our website. So just go to our website and scroll down a little bit on the homepage. You'll see the literary anthology image and information there, and you can click through and request a free copy, and I will send you a PDF of this really beautiful publication.
And speaking about your website, can you let our listeners know where they can go to learn more about the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation and who they can contact for more information?
You bet. So our website is nativeartsandcultures.org. So Native Arts and Cultures, I'll spell out, .org. And you can email me. I'm Mandy, Mandy, at nativeartsandcultures.org. Or if you do contact us through our website, that will also go to me, and I will get you to the right person if I'm not the right person to talk to. So just visit our website. Really, it's a huge resource, lots of great things there. We upkeep our blogs with all of our latest events and exciting things going on, so definitely check it out.
Well, I would like to thank you, Mandy, for taking time out to talk to us today, to tell us all this great information about the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll chat with Lenaya So, owner of Beading Soul Creation. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health Family Advocates can help you enroll, renew, or update your access information. This can be done in person, phone, or via Zoom, days, nights, or weekends. It's fast, easy, and can make a difference in keeping your health care coverage. For more information, call 602-279-5262. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You are listening to Peace of Mind by Smokey D. Palmtree.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lenaya Puati. In the studio with me is Lenaya So, owner of Beading Soul Creation, providing indigenous homemade beaded jewelry. It's an honor to have you on our show today, Lenaya.
Thank you for having me.
And before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and about your indigenous heritage?
Yes, of course. My name is Lenaya, so I'm a Navajo woman from the Navajo Nation in New Mexico. My clans are Nahabani. It's the Gray Streak Ends clan. I'm born for Tohaglini, and that's the Water Flows Together clan. My maternal grandfather is Hushklishni, that's the Mud clan, and my paternal grandfathers are Tutnasahni, and that's the Tangle clan.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. It's a pleasure to have you here today and to talk more about your business, Beading Soul Creation. Can you tell us more about it, how it got started, where the name comes from?
Well, it got started from a story. When I was 12 years old, I lost my brother. He died on my birthday. And a part of me was gone, you know, my heart, my soul, everything. And not too long ago, about 3 years ago, my mom, she needed help because she does beadwork too. And she needed help on an order. And she asked me to help her. And I was reluctant, you know, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And with that, it felt like she brought me home. She brought me back. And I've created Beading Soul. And so that's where the name came from, is, you know, I found my way home. You know, my soul is put together. You know, my brother wanted me to continue on with my life, and Beading Soul Creations was founded.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that
You're welcome.
story. And you just mentioned that your mom is a beader. So is that kind of where you picked up all of your skills?
Yes. I started when I was 8 years old, and I beaded for about 4 years, and then I lost my brother, and then I've lost it. I've lost beading for about 20 years, and 2020 is when I picked it back up, and I started Beading Soul Creations.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry about your loss, and it's just like amazing how you incorporated that and kind of made like a comeback and incorporated all your feelings into your business now. So it's amazing that you were able to start Beading Soul, and thank you so much for sharing that story.
Oh, you're welcome.
So talking about your Beading Soul creations, can you tell us, like, what are some of the items that you bead, and do you have a favorite item that you've created?
Yes, I like to do the wood burn, and I do have a pair here, and this is a wood burn center, and I just bead around it with the abalone shell.
Oh.
So this pair is my absolutely favorite. And I started that, and it's original, it's authentic, you know, nobody's created anything like it, and that's my own design. You know, I can say that's my own design and be proud of it. So that's one of my favorite pieces.
And where do you get your inspirations for your designs?
My inspiration, it's just within my heritage, you know, like for the bear, it's for, you know, it's meaningful to have strength and protection. So that's one of my inspirations I get is within my culture.
Wow, that's awesome. And talking about your work, how long does it take for you to make a pair of earrings or necklace or any other kinds that you make?
Well, for that particular pair, it took me about 2.5 days. I have to wait for the glue to set, and that's 24 hours. And then the edging. So mostly it's just the gluing. The gluing, it takes time. Mm-hmm. But for me to bead around it, it takes me about 4 hours to 6 hours, depending of my surroundings, because I have kids. Oh, yeah. And, I constantly sometimes drop my work and attend to my kids, make sure that they're fed and they're eating and they have the attention as well.
And talking about your home life, is it just you making the jewelry, or do you have help?
I actually make all my jewelry. Right now, I'm teaching my daughter, who is 12 years old, and she's been doing it. She's been doing great. She loves teaching. She loves learning new things, and which is amazing. My fiance, he helps me wood burn just the centers when he's home from work, because he goes out of town and he travels, and when he's here, he only helps me wood burn. But other than that, everything else I do all on my own. I mean, I can't say that I have multiple people helping me bead, pick up every bead and bead within the earrings. Like, I don't have that help. Mm-hmm. So all the beadwork and putting everything together is just 100% me, and I'm so proud to do these earrings because it's a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of time, and it's just, for me, it's a healing, a spiritual healing within myself.
That's awesome. And also teaching your daughter is kind of like a generational knowledge that you're sharing, because you picked up, was it from your mom?
Yes.
And then from there, now you're teaching your daughter. That's so amazing.
It's 3 generations.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. And I know recently with Native Health, we collaborated with you teaching a beading class last month in January. Was this the first time that you taught a class, or do you also do like teaching others how to bead?
That was actually my first time.
Oh, wow.
Teaching a class. I mean, like a whole entire class. There was 15 students there, and it was just an amazing experience. I don't have any words for it. It was really, really, really good. I had a really good time.
And is it something that you would want to do, like in the future, is to like teach others how to bead?
Yes, actually that has been on my mind. But I haven't really thought about actually going forth with it, because my schedule is so crazy right now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I need to, really sit down and think about this. But it's really something that I would love to do in the future.
Oh, yes. And something you just mentioned really spoke to me when you said that, how beading gives you like the spiritual healing that you need, and it probably is kind of what got you past your brother as well, which is amazing. And I know we've been trying to bring more cultural awareness and classes to others who may be going through difficult times, because we know activities like this help others like heal, and also it's just like a good mental health activity for them. And I know for your class, I don't know if they shared with you, we did have some individuals who did say like how your class was very healing for them. And I know we had some individuals who were having trouble with alcoholism, and they said like your class was perfect. It like keeps them busy, keeps them away, and just keeps them with a positive mindset. Do you think it is important to teach others how to bead or maybe pick up a craft?
Yes. It's very important to me because, I want them to help. I want to help them overcome their difficulties, their struggles, their addiction. And with my class and with my beading, it's something that I've always wanted to do. And, you know, one of my students did come up and say that she chose alcohol. She chose to be sober over alcohol just to come to my class. And that hit me, you know, it really touched me, and I can't believe I make that impact on a person, you know, and it's truly a blessing.
Oh, yes. Like, your work is more than just jewelry. It does really impact individuals, and just receiving items. They're basically proud of their heritage as well. If they were even let down on their heritage, just I think wearing jewelry in general is also really healing, and also during the class is probably healing for them as well.
Yes. I get a lot of customers in my DMs. They tell me, you know, like, they lost a loved one and I received your item and it made me so happy. You know, it made me feel like my relative was near me. You know, like they had that healing and they have that spirit just within my earrings or whatever item that they purchased from me.
You mentioned that you were teaching your daughter how to bead. Is that something that you would want to, I guess, introduce her into your business as well?
She mentioned it. She was just like, Mom, can you do a square website for me? You know, she's really, really persistent. But I keep telling her, you know, sweetheart, you're 12 years old. I want you to finish school first. This is a side hobby for you, you know. This is because, you know, my daughter's 12. She's been through a lot, and this helps her heal. This helps her be calm and just really, really be patient with herself. And that's what she's learning from, is through the beadwork. And when time comes, yes, you know, she can have her own business. But right now she's still a kid, and I want her to graduate before all of that comes.
Yes. That's amazing. It's amazing how just doing an activity like that is really self-healing. Do you have any advice for individuals who may be wanting to start their own business, whether it be beading or something else?
I would say don't stop. Keep striving. Keep pushing. No matter how difficult and how hard your path is, just continue it. And the harder you go and the harder you push, you will succeed. You know, that's a guarantee, because you're the one wanting to do it for your own self and not for anyone else. And that matters.
Thank you for sharing that. Can you let our listeners know how they can learn more about Beading Soul Creation and how they can contact you if they have further questions?
Yes, of course. I have a website. It's beadingsoulcreations.com. I do have a little contact information on there. You can contact me through my business website. I do have a Facebook page, so you can always send me a message. I have Instagram. I have all those, you know, the, oh my God.
No
I'm
worries,
so
no
sorry.
worries.
I got blank right there.
No worries, it happens.
I got those social media platforms for you to contact me with.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank you, Lenaya, for taking time out to talk to us today, to tell us more about your amazing company, Beading Soul Creation. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga, and our host is Yeahpau. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.